Namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanaabhaya Namaha
ये सब तो
Pankajamaline
हटाना ही होगा।
Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajangriye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, dear Vishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Canto 8, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, chapter 23, entitled The Demigods Regain the Heavenly Planets. So we'll complete this chapter today. And we just have, we read till text 27. So we'll start from the next verse, which is text number 28. Sarvamitan maya akyatam bhavata kulanandana Urukramasya charitam shrotranam aghamochanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. O Maharaj Parikshit, pleasure of your dynasty. I have now described to you everything about the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamanadeva. Those who hear about this are certainly freed from all the results of sinful activities. Hare Krishna. So the last few verses of pretty much every episode, every Leela of the Supreme Lord, talk about the phalashruti. So here we see that anyone who hears this pastime will be free. Shrotram agha mochanam. Agha mochanam. So it will destroy all the impurities. It will destroy all the sinful activities. That's the power of hearing. Hearing Krishna Katha, hearing Vaman Katha, Narsingh Katha. Therefore, Krishna has given this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is non-different from him, so that we can hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which includes the activities of his devotees, incarnations, etc., just to help us purify the existence. Okay, let's read the next one. Does someone want to read that? 29.
I can read, Prabhu. Dandat.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Param mahitna Urukramato grunano yaha parthivani vimamera sa rajasi satmartyaha kim jayamana utajata upeti samartya ityaha mantrang gru rushi purushasya yasya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One who is subject to death cannot measure the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Trivikrama, Lord Vishnu, any more than he can count the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Trivikrama, Lord Vishnu, any more than he can count the number of atoms on the entire planet Earth. No one, whether born already or destined to take birth, is able to do this. This has been sung by the great sages Vasishta. Purport. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Vasishta Muni has given a mantra about Lord Vishnu. Nate Vishnur Jayanando Jayana Ruo, Na, Jata, Najata, Mohimnaha, Param, Anantam, Apa. No one can estimate the extent of the uncommonly glorious activities of Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, there are so-called scientists who are subject to death at every moment, but are trying to understand by speculation the wonderful creation of the cosmos. This is a foolish attempt. Long, long ago, Vasishta Muni said that no one in the past could measure the glories of the Lord, and that no one can do so in the future. One must simply be satisfied with seeing the glorious activities of the Śrīmad, of the Supreme Lord's creation. The Lord, therefore, says in Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Nishtabhyaham idam Krishnam ekam shena sito yar jagat. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. The material world consists of innumerable universes, each one full of innumerable planets, which are all considered to be products of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's material energy. Yet that is only 1/4 of God's creation. The other 3/4 of creation constitute the spiritual world. Among the innumerable planets, in only one universe, the so-called scientists cannot understand even the moon and Mars. But they try to defy the creation of the Supreme Lord and his uncommon energy. Such men have been described as crazy. Nunam pramattaha kurute vikrama, Bhagavatam 5.5.4. Such crazy men unnecessarily waste time, energy, and money in attempting to defy the glorious activities of Urukrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, three main points here are that it is impossible to fathom glories of Lord. Neither in the past it has happened, nor it will happen in the future. That one just cannot understand or describe the Lord's glorious activities. And then second thing Prabhupada is saying here is that Krishna, with a single fragment of Krishna, he can pervade the entire universe. So he's Janma Karma Chame Divyam. He's so transcendentally, different and phenomenal that we cannot, even if we understand a drop of ocean from this oceanic activities of Lord Krishna, we are really immensely benefited. And then third, last thing is saying that crazy. Prabhupada is funny. Prabhupada defines this crazy word many times in many different contexts. And he's saying that it's simply waste of energy, time, money, everything. One time Prabhupada said, why are they going to the moon spending so many millions of dollars and going to moon and wasting their time and money, Just let them visit here, Let them visit here. So then we'll see. Better to spend our time, energy, and everything into hearing about Lord and thinking about Him and doubting our abilities to Krishna's service. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such nice description and explanation. The Lord is unlimited. His qualities are unlimited. His forms are unlimited. Everything is unlimited. So we cannot estimate His greatness. We are Anu. He is Vibhu. We are infinitesimal, and Krishna is infinite. Prabhupada often gives this example of Dr. Frog mentality, that a frog in the well cannot estimate the greatness of the ocean because he has never seen what an ocean is. One time the well, twice the well, 5 times the well, 10 times the well, and he's exploding, expanding himself more, and then he just explodes. So our tiny intelligence, our tiny brain cannot fathom the greatness of the Supreme Lord. We have a hard time understanding a tiny particle like corona. How can we understand all the wonderful incarnations and their activities? So you don't have to worry too much. All we have to understand that we cannot understand. And then Krishna will help us. Okay. Let's see the next verse. Text number 30. Would someone want to read this one? Who hasn't got chance? Yesterday. Yes, Moksha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, all devotees. Dhanvat Pranam. Text 30. Ya idam devasya hare bhuta kramana avataranu charitam shrivanam yati param gatim. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. If one hears about the uncommon activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations, he is certainly elevated to the higher planetary system or even brought back home back to Godhead. So here we see that Sri Krishna is again so merciful that even if we only hear about his incarnations as you explained earlier, we will be freed from at least the bad karmas we do. That is why here it is saying that we can even elevate to the higher planet. And if we hear it with rapt, resolute attention and with more attention and love towards Sri Krishna, we may also go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Koti Koti Dhanvat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Again, hearing is emphasized in every verse. Just by hearing, simple oral reception will lead to Param Gatim, topmost destination. And what's the topmost destination? Back home, back to Godhead. So one will certainly get there just by the process of hearing. And the famous example is the bhakti begins with Shravanam. One of the foremost limbs of bhakti is Shravanam. Hearing about Krishna. Chanting is also part of Shravanam and Kirtanam. So we come to the last verse of this chapter. Anyone? Is Bhaswati Mataji want to read?
Dhanavad Pranam, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam, devotees. Text 31. Kriyamane karmani dam daive pitre tha manushe yatra yatra nukirtayata tattesham shukratam viduhu. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Whenever the activities of Vamanadeva are described in the course of a ritualistic ceremony, whether the ceremony be performed to please the demigods, to please one's forefathers in Pitraloka, or to celebrate a social event like a marriage, that ceremony should be understood to be extremely auspicious. Purport. There are three kinds of ceremonies, specifically ceremonies to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the demigods, those performed for social celebrations like marriages and birthdays, and those meant to please the forefathers like the Shraddha ceremony. In all these ceremonies, large amounts of money are spent for various activities, but here it is suggested that if along with this there is recitation of the wonderful activities of Vamanadeva, certainly the ceremony will be carried out successfully and will be free of all discrepancies. Back to you, Prabhuji.
To your expert comments, Mataji.
Oh, I forgot to read. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 8th canto, 23rd chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Demigods Regain the Heavenly Planets. So here it is mentioned in the purport that there are three kinds of ceremonies. One, to please Supreme Personality of the Godhead, and another one is marriage, birthday celebrations, and those are performed to please the demigod. No, sorry. So it's ceremonies to please Supreme Lord or the demigods, one kind. The second kind is social celebrations for marriage, birthday, and third one is to please the forefathers, like Shraddha. So it is said here that Prabhupada is mentioned, like all those ceremonies, usually we spend a lot of money. And Prabhuji, I did not understand the last sentence, what it meant, like what Vamanadeva, how those ceremonies are compared with Lord Vamanadeva's activities. I did not understand this last sentence.
Thank you, Mataji. In short, the point is that all these ceremonies are incomplete without glorifying the Supreme Lord and His wonderful activities. We just read when we were talking about the holy name. Holy name is chanted in all the ceremonies. Death ceremony, marriage ceremony, birthday ceremony, especially amongst the Vaishnavas. Any ceremony, a good occasion, happy occasion, or occasion of sorrow, Mangal Arti or Narshing Arti or evening Arti or afternoon Arti. The one thing is the one mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's the foundation. And Prabhupada mentioned that's why we emphasize in our Krishna Consciousness Society. We therefore give special stress to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in all activities. These are the Prabhupada's purport, 16th verse, last line. So in short, without remembering Krishna, everything else is futile. Shrama eva hi kevalam. The demigods won't be pleased. The forefathers won't be pleased. And the other manusha, Deva Pitrya Manushe. People try to please demigods, people try to please other forefathers, people try to please other friends, relatives, uncles, aunts, etc. But what is real pleasing? What is real pleasing? They think, oh, if I offer expensive food, wine, alcohol, so many different types of 50 types of food which is not offered, meat, cutting animals, that's not going to please. That's not going to make the ceremony auspicious. What is going to make it auspicious is Harikatha. Yatra yatra anukirtayet, where Krishna's the holy name is sung, where the Krishna's name form qualities are sung. That will make all the ceremonies auspicious. Not how much money we spend on the ceremony, not how many people come for the ceremony. Is that okay, Mataji? Is that help?
But the first kind of ceremony involves pleasing Lord, Supreme Lord. So in that ceremony, the Lord's Lord's glorification certainly will be there. So, but where it says, it is suggested that all the activities, the first activity is involved with pleasing Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the first one.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what I mentioned, that the sum and bonum of everything is to remember Krishna. If just a marriage ceremony where someone is drinking, someone is eating meat, it won't be really auspicious. And that's why the foundation of marriage is not Harikatha, the foundation of marriage is not to come together and remember Krishna, then those marriages don't last. Therefore, the divorce rate is increasing. Therefore, the people come for ceremony ritualistically without understanding what is going on, why is it going on with any ceremony. Therefore, in every ceremony, remembrance of Krishna has to be there, whether it is talking about Krishna Katha, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's holy name. So it has to be in every ceremony. Because the goal of every ceremony is to please Krishna. This is more like a Vaishnava way. But even if we go in the Karma Kanda way, if we forget the Vaishnava style, even in the Karma Kanda way, there are in actual Vedic marriage, in actual, done by the codes of the scriptures, there is so much description about Krishna. There is so much description about that. This is a very sacred ritual, keeping Krishna at the center. What to speak of Vaishnava marriage style or Vaishnava any procedure, any process, any ritual. The center is Krishna. Okay, we'll do a quick kind of synopsis of this chapter. This chapter is number 23. So, chapter 23, the demigods regain the heavenly planets. So, in the last chapter, Bali Maharaj was, fixed upon his vow. He didn't deviate in the time of crisis, and he was rather kind of grateful. He was released from the clutches, and this chapter begins with deep gratitude of Bali Maharaj and humility. That he was kind of amazed to see how Lord is so merciful. And hearing about Vamanadeva, Bali Maharaj thanked that I was merely eager to offer you obeisance with my mind, yet I attained the results sought out by the surrendered devotees. Isn't that amazing? Text number 2, very, very important. If someone just merely tries to offer obeisance in the mind, he could not even physically offer. We discussed that point because of his kingly position earlier. And then he got so much mercy. What to speak of if someone is repeatedly offering obeisance, repeatedly chanting, reading, hearing, etc. So Bali Maharaj is always grateful that I don't deserve this. Krishna, this is your causeless mercy. And then Bali Maharaj later offered obeisances, and then Brahma, Shiva, all were present. Then Prahlad Maharaj also was present, and he offered wonderful prayers. All glories to your kindness, your inconceivable mercy. You're like desire tree. And then Vamanadeva spoke to Prahlad Maharaj that all of you kind of enjoy in Sutal Loka with your friends, family, relatives, grandchild, Sutal Bali Maharaj. So, and Sutal Loka is not a punishment. It's not like a jail. We have discussed already. It is hundreds of times more opulent than the kingdom of Indra. So they all went to Sutal Loka. And now the conversation is between Vamanadeva and Shukracharya. Shukracharya, Vamanadeva asked, well, what was the problem, the fault of your disciple, Bali Maharaj? And then Shukracharya admits his fault in cursing Bali. Like, why did you curse Bali? That he will lose all his opulence. And then Shukracharya kind of repented and expressed that yes, he made a mistake. It's a good sign. If one makes a mistake and one acknowledges, accepts, and repents for that, we discussed that. It's much better than not accepting, because that will a mistake which makes us humble is more powerful than an achievement which makes us proud. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says this: a mistake which makes us humble is more powerful, better than an achievement which makes us proud. What is the use of so-called achievement? If it pride means away from Krishna. Humility means closer to Krishna. So that doesn't mean we keep making mistakes, knowingly, unknowingly, if it happens. And as soon as we get to know, it's good to acknowledge. It's a very, very nice verse that no faults when one is worshipping Lord, because He is Purna. Mantrastantras-chidram desha kalarah vastutah sarvam karoti nischidram anu sankirtanam tava. Chidram means loopholes, faults, shortcomings. There may be hundreds of shortcomings in the mantras, in the tantras, in the place, in the situation, in my own self. Nothing could be right in Kali Yuga, so many difficulties, so many shortcomings. But Sarvam Karoti Nishchidram. All the loopholes are fulfilled. Everything becomes auspicious when one chants the holy name. This is the power of the holy name. We discussed that verse in great detail. So, Shukracharya takes shelter of the Supreme Lord, and then the Vamanadeva. It's kind of the chapter, the whole pastime is coming to an end. Vamanadeva puts Indra on the right position. He's the protector of all. He's the well-wisher of all the universe. Everyone is glorifying him. The Apsaras are dancing, Gandharvas are singing. There's a kind of a festival going on. And in that jolly festival, they kind of go to their respective places. And then finally, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is telling the glories of hearing, the phalashruti of hearing this pastime of Lord Urukrama, Trivikrama, Vamanadeva. One will be free from all sins. We cannot measure the glories of the Lord. One will go back home, back to Godhead, and one will achieve all auspiciousness in one's life. Everything will become auspicious if one remembers Krishna. This is a kind of a short summary. We can take some thoughts, reflections, or any additions in this chapter if something really struck you and you want to share. Please feel free. Anyone wants to add or share or tell something?
So just one thing. Vamanadeva, he put 2 steps, and then when it came to the 3rd step, he actually didn't put it, did he? I mean, he is a punishment or sending uh, Bali Maharaj to the Sutar Loka. Is that considered as the 3rd step, or I think Bali Maharaj said, "Put it on my head." I think so. I don't, that part I don't quite follow, whether he actually put the 3rd step anywhere.
Mm-hmm. We actually put on the 3rd step on the Lord. So, well, if he, the point is not to smash him by putting putting the feet on his head, but in one way we can say yes, he did put the feet on the Lord's head. Why? Because by showing his true mercy upon Bali Maharaj. This is the real feet of the Lord. If the Lord, the point is not to crush Bali Maharaj by putting, if the Lord puts his feet, and that too, the giant form, but the point is to crush even the minutest trace of false ego, pride, which was anyways not there. But this is the real meaning of having the Lord's feet on our head, having the spiritual master feet on our head. It's not the literal meaning. Of course, literally also is very, very good, but that may not be feasible and practical. Maybe once in a blue moon, once in a rare soul may get that chance. But
yeah,
the real meaning is to crush our internal demon.
Yeah. And he'll do that to a real demon, someone like a Hiranyakashipu or someone. Bali Maharaj is not actually, he's the king of the demons, but he doesn't have those same qualities.
Yeah, he's a demon and he's a devotee in the disguise of a demon. And in the family of the demons, if we read the first half of this canto, we will see fighting and not cooperating, nectar, all that stuff. But in the later half, there has been absolutely nothing but good mentioned about Bali Maharaj. It's kind of the transition happening between after the Samudra Manthan Leela.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anyone else has any additions or thoughts, comments? Any reflections? Anything really struck you? Because not just this chapter is coming to an end, but this whole pastime is coming to an end as well. The last chapter which we'll start tomorrow, is Matsya Avatar.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji, as you said, rightly said, Bali Maharaj, even though he was from a demonic family, but, since his grandfather is Prahlad Maharaj, who is a Mahajan, and, he had a pure devotion to the Lord. And even though, he knew that he will be losing all his opulences and his guru's curse also, but he was ready to, render himself for the service of the Lord. So we can see that how Bali Maharaj, and also we can see that if we follow, in certain circumstances, if the guru is not right, you can actually, because on the other side, if it is Krishna, then it doesn't matter who is on the other side. Always follow the footsteps and serve the Lord. That's my understanding.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandakrishna. I feel that in the whole pastime, from the beginning to end, it's the significance of Guru has been really illustrated. So the whole pastime starts because Indra has mentally not honored Bruhaspati's garland, and he was, and that is it. That was just one small offense that he did, and then he loses the entire kingdom, and then Bali Maharaj serves his Guru, and then he regains that Indra's kingdom, and then then Indra worships his Guru, and I mean not worship. It doesn't say like that. But Indra starts following Bruhaspati's orders, and then now it is Indra's turn to win. And Bali Maharaja takes blessings from his Prahlad Maharaj, and his even father is mentioned as a good devotee. And so bogus guru is gone from Bali Maharaja's life, and a pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj is following that Vaishnava. And this way, significance of Guru, significance of Vaishnava, and their pure blessings are shown in this pastime. How they can affect your life, such a small thing, and you can lose a kingdom. And to bring it to current example of Corona, as we were discussing yesterday. So what must we have done? How many offenses we must have done to be facing the situation of pandemic? So just something from out of my soapbox. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing your realizations. Yes, Moksha, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one takeaway from this lesson for me is, which is almost in all the great devotees' life, that is, they welcome the reversals in their life so happily, happily in a sense that they know whatever they are facing is either because of their past karmas or because of something which is Krishna is willing to do. So they tolerate the reversals and also accept that reversals in their life with so much of gratitude towards Sri Krishna. That is something means like if I talk about myself, then I'm a very means like a short-tempered kind of a person. Uh, it is the big lesson for me to tolerate means even if a small thing is a little bit left or right, then my BP shoots up. Though I many a times don't show it, but still I feel in my heart that it's such a small thing and I'm feeling angry. So this is something for me and Bali Maharaj himself. They welcomed the reversals without even, without even having that feeling in heart that why is this happening to me. That is something uh, very difficult for me to inculcate, and I'll try it from now. So this is what I realized. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that wonderful lesson. Yeah, to be grateful in all situations. We may not be inviting difficulties like Mata Kunti. She's inviting difficulties. Vipadat santuta shashva tatra tatra jagat guru. But someone asked Bhakti Maharaj, Maharaj, should we also pray like that? Should we also invite difficulties? Maharaj gave a nice response. Said, first we should pray that whatever they are coming by their own accord, we become grateful in those first. First, at least we become that level, or to speak of inviting more. Because difficulties will come without invitation. Health issues, some other issues, adi bhautik, adi devik, adi atmik. But to be grateful, to be humble, to be tolerant, to accept that as Krishna's mercy is not easy. And Mataji is so humble in expressing that. But everyone is, that's what we have to practice, learning from the Shastra, like Bali Maharaj, how he did. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Yes, Lakshya wants to say something. Yes, Prabhu, please tell.
Yes, Prabhuji. I thought the summary was kind of like Bali Maharaj's wife Vindhyavali was like supporting Bali Maharaj to give charity to Vamanadeva, and was kind of like I don't know if it's cold, it's scolding, but it's kind of like that. She was like trying to teach Bali Maharaj a lesson that he shouldn't like think like he could control like Indraloka.
Very good. That's a great lesson.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you, Lakshya Prabhu. Yeah, the wife, Prabhupada mentioned that the wife had love for Godhead, which Shukracharya did not. And what's the proof? Because he did not support Bali's surrender, Bali's giving in charity. But the wife supported, and he kind of chastised Bali Maharaj. What do you think? You have anything to give? Actually, everything belongs to Krishna. Who are we to give anything to him? That's a very high level of understanding. So, thank you for sharing that. Any other last comments before we stop for today? Okay.
I have just one question so Prahlad Maharaja was one of the 12 Mahajanas, and he's blessed by Narasimhadev. But the whole entire 3-4 chapters, when Shukracharya was inhibiting him not to surrender, and all the other episodes when Bali Maharaja fought with the demigods, and why Prahlad Maharaja was not spoke anything like to Bali Maharaja, because he knew that demigods are Lord Vishnu. Demigods are protected by Lord Vishnu.
Yeah, I think I asked a similar question to Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, that why did he kind of give, when he was going for a war to take over Indraloka, Prahlad Maharaj came up with a wonderful garland, if you remember that episode.
Yeah. Yes.
So the question comes, why? And then he gives multiple, it's a very big topic, but the one point which kind of I understood is that, there's a right time in the pastime for the glories of a great devotee to manifest in their fullest extent. So in that also is a arrangement of the Lord. Because if he would not have Indra's Loka, then why would Aditi go and ask husband to help? And how would this pastime would have happened? So we cannot understand. That's what we learn. We can count the atoms in this world, but we cannot understand the activities of the Supreme Lord. There are multiple reasons, but one reason is that for the Lord to arrange all these pastimes so that we can remember and purify ourselves and talk more and more about Lord Vamanadeva and Krishna. Another reason is that the right time the Lord wants to show. If Bali Maharaj would have taken, like if we would have just given some charity, that would have not been, great. But if he gave everything, Sarvasva Tomar, now his greatness is glorified, will be glorified for time immemorial. There are so many episodes, so many people in the dynasty hierarchy we read, but we don't read in great detail about all the characters in Bhagavatam. But if someone has done extraordinary activities, extraordinary surrender and shelter, then Shukdev Goswami talks about that personality in great detail. So this is some of the thoughts I have on this topic, which after hearing. Does that help, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll pause here and continue tomorrow with the Matsya Avtara. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Vamanadeva ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Sitaramani Mahamad ki jai.
Jai.
Swami ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Vaishnavebhyo namo namo.
Hare Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.